The first sign of trouble wasn't the email, but the shrill whine of a cordless drill cutting through the morning stillness, a sound that felt like it was scraping against my very soul. I knew, with a cold, sinking certainty, exactly who it was and what she was doing. My neighbor, Deborah, aka the Homeowners Association Queen of Pine Creek Meadows, was on a stepladder in her immaculate yard, her perfectly coiffed blonde bob glinting in the sun as she aimed her power tool at the side of my house, right at the array I'd spent months installing. "Deborah, what the hell are you doing?" I shouted, my voice cracking with a mixture of disbelief and fury as I burst through my front door, the cool air from the AC hitting my face before the humid morning heat of a Louisiana summer could settle in. She paused, slowly turning her head to give me a saccharine smile that didn't reach her cold eyes. "What does it look like, Mark?" "I'm maintaining the community aesthetic," she said, her voice dripping with the sort of condescension reserved for children and subordinates. The scent of her expensive, cloying perfume, a scent I'd come to associate with all manner of petty complaints, wafted across the lawn. I could feel my jaw clench so tight my teeth ached. "That's not a decorative element," I explained, trying to keep my voice even and calm, but the desperation was bleeding through. "It's part of a private project, a high-sensitivity research uplink. It's not bothering anyone." Her smile widened, predator's smirk. "I'm sure it is, dear. But Rule 3.14 of our bylaws explicitly states all exterior fixtures must be approved by the Architectural Review Committee, and I have no record of your unsightly apparatus. It's a violation, plain and simple." She turned back to the dish, the drill's tip touching the baseplate. My heart pounded like a drum, a frantic, useless beat against my ribs. "Deborah, please, just wait. I can show you the paperwork. This isn't a TV dish." A deep sigh escaped me, a weary, defeated sound. This was pointless. She had been on a warpath against me for months, ever since I had the audacity to plant a sunflower in my front yard, a flower she considered unacceptably rustic. The low rumble of her drill starting up again was a chilling sound, the mechanical death knell for my project. The tiny, intricate wires, the delicate sensors, the parabolic curve of the dish itself, all of it felt like an extension of myself, and she was tearing it to shreds. My stomach twisted into a knot, a sour, bile-like taste rising in my throat. I watched helplessly as she undid the final bolt. There was a moment of silence, tense, breathless pause, before the dish came loose and fell, a surprisingly gentle thud as it landed on the soft grass. But it was accompanied by a terrible, high-pitched ping from somewhere inside the array, a sound that made the fine hairs on my arms stand up. As she stood on the ladder, arms crossed in triumph, a small, knowing grin on her face, my phone, a secure government-issue device I never used for personal calls, vibrated with an urgent, repeating alarm. I fumbled it from my pocket, my hands shaking as I saw the red, blinking alert, link severed, critical failure, orbital data interrupted. I stared at the message, a cold wave of dread washing over me, making the humid air feel suddenly frigid. Just then, a large, black SUV with tinted windows rolled slowly down our cul-de-sac and came to a quiet stop in front of my house. The doors opened in a silent, synchronized motion, and two men in crisp, dark suits emerged. They ignored the sight of Deborah on her ladder and the dish on the ground. Their eyes were on me, and more specifically, on my phone. The taller man approached, his face a neutral mask of professional calm. "Mr. Jensen?" he asked, his voice low and serious. I could only nod, my throat too tight for words. He then turned his gaze to Deborah, who was now off the ladder, preening with the self-satisfaction of a person who has just won a moral victory. "Ma'am," he said, his voice now a little colder, "did you just rip that off this man's house?" Her smug grin returned. It's a violation of homeowners association bylaws, sir. He can't just put up whatever he wants without a committee review. The man's gaze hardened. He pulled a small, laminated card from his pocket, flashing it at her. The words NASA Office of Inspector General were printed clearly across the top. My breath hitched. He looked at the shattered dish, then back at her, a muscle in his jaw ticking. That dish. He began, his voice dropping to an almost menacing whisper, was the primary data uplink for our experimental Orion Link satellite, currently orbiting 1,000 miles over the Pacific. We've just lost a crucial, multi-million-dollar data packet because of a sudden, catastrophic disconnect. Deborah's triumphant smirk began to melt, her eyes widening in a slow, dawning horror. Her perfectly manicured hand flew to her mouth. You've just committed a federal crime. Ma'am, the agent said, his voice flat. It's called destruction of government property and obstruction of a federal research operation. I have to advise you to stop talking and wait for the local authorities we've already called. The sound of a distant siren began to grow louder. Her face, a moment ago so full of smug victory, contorted in a silent scream of disbelief and terror. She took a step back, tripping over the very tool she had used to cause the destruction. The look on her face, a grotesque blend of shock and pure, unadulterated fear, was worth 1,000 words. It was an epic, karmic backhand from the cosmos. The look of a self-appointed queen finally realizing the kingdom she had been ruling over was nothing more than a sandbox, and she had just picked a fight with a force she couldn't possibly comprehend. The smugness was gone, replaced by the bitter, agonizing taste of a victory that would cost her everything. This wasn't about a neighborhood squabble anymore. It was about the universe's ultimate, undeniable truth. You never know who you're messing with, or how big the consequences can be.